Hi, I'm Scott Giese here at the University of Northern Iowa. I'm the FEF Key Professor. I originally came here in 1995 as a research project manager for the Metal Casting Center. Worked there for 8 years and moved up to the faculty in 2003. Originally, I'm from Buffalo, New York. I grew up in a family that pretty much my dad, my uncles, they all worked in the same foundry, Worthington Compressors. And when I actually started my education, I was actually going into electrical engineering because at the time the Buffalo region was hit with a very severe recession. A lot of the foundry industry was closing. But after a while, I guess I realized that I didn't really know where I was going on in electrical engineering, and I got introduced to metal casting at a community college. And that was actually the first time that I really enjoyed working, with an advisor. That's an interesting story coming from the University of Alabama. That's where I got my bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degree. I was actually working on a project that was associated with my dissertation looking at metal penetration defects in cast iron. And we were finishing up the project. And as part of the project, we were in the phase of running industrial applications. So we needed to visit foundries to go test our theory. So it turned out that the first place that we actually came to was actually the University of Northern Iowa, because they had a high pressure molding machine for green sand. That was the only one that was in an academic institution. So I came here, hung out for about a week. At the time, they were really ramping up the metal casting program. They received a fairly large grant from the federal government. It was the TRP through NIST. So NIST is the National Institute of Standard and Technology, and it was the Technology Reinvestment Program. So that's when I was notified by the director at the time that they would be looking for project managers. Well, it kind of turned out the director was an ex-General Motors employee from the Buffalo region, and he worked there for 20 years. And then it also turned out that one of the research project managers actually graduated from the same community college that I did, from the Buffalo region. So I guess we had the Buffalo connection. What I try to do is try to demonstrate in our different labs, discuss how these labs can fill certain needs and what type of career opportunities are available for students with respects to the coursework and also what we do at the Metal Casting Center. The best part about working is having the freedom to do research work without having that requirement to obtain X amount of dollars. So if you go to an engineering program, you typically will teach 2 classes per semester, but then the expectation is you're supposed to bring in roughly a minimum of $300,000 of grants and contracts. What's nice about here, I don't have that particular requirement. I do teach 3 classes every semester. But I do have that nice flexibility that I don't have to segment myself to looking specifically for grants, federal funding, the big dollars, because within an engineering schools, if it's not worth $300,000, you don't really do it. I can do things with industry, with companies, and I'll be honest, if it's $5,000, it's a nice little thing that I can do. I can have give it to some students. I can give it as part of a class project. So I really enjoy that aspect of the job. I also do a lot of variety of projects. I don't have a per se specialty, even though my background is actually metallurgical engineering. But when I came here at the Metal Casting Center, I spent a lot of times learning about sand and the different sand processes, and we were doing a lot of research at that time in those particular areas. So as part of my education, I learned the basics, but here I kind of obtained that specialty in that area. So now I've kind of matured and expanded to other applications and how to combine those particular expertise that I have gained over the past few years, how to bring that together and bring it into a more effective class environment. I think right now, as I've been here for 30 some years, I'd like to share my knowledge now. I was always in a mode of gaining knowledge, but I'd certainly like to share it. So a project that I'm presently working on right now is developing a web page where teachers and high school students can access, and they can learn more about metal casting. They can do things with respect to, borrowing little pieces of equipment. So if a school would like to do stuff within metal casting, but they don't have the appropriate equipment, we can certainly lend them to them, and they can go to our website. The other area that I'm looking at right now is developing kind of a casting competition within the state here, working with the high schools and also our state foundries. So we realize to do something like this, it's very hard for, say, high school students in high schools to travel to the University of Northern Iowa. Especially if you're 2 hours away. So what we're trying to do is to have them work with local foundries within their areas, so this way they can do their casting competition. They'll learn how to make a pattern, how to build a flask, and that'll be all tutorial videos that are available on the website. And then they can participate in this competition. But then the last thing I'm looking at right now is doing a sabbatical for about 1 semester. And what I'd like to do is to kind of write textbooks. I'm still debating if it's one of those hard form textbooks or if it's something that's made available on a website, but it's looking at how to do, say, casting designs and really integrating in my expertise in that molding area, in my solidification modeling area, bringing in the metallurgy aspects of it, but really focusing on, say, a tooling practices type class. So people can learn how to design castings, they might not be specifically involved in the casting, but if you look at a lot of manufacturers utilize casting. So if people understand how to design castings, then they can work with, say, casting suppliers to make a better casting.